Hi, I'm Charles with AniCap. Previously, Bai was accepted as a disciple to become an immortal. In the immortal realm, Bai would discover that his chosen walk is able to double the power of anything he puts in it. However, he loses some lifespan when he does. Later, Bai enters the Fallen Sword Abyss to compete against other chosen disciples, and would eventually shock everyone when he reaches Heavenly Vein Foundation Establishment level. The Fallen Sword Abyss becomes unstable though, and Bai must be teleported out by his adopted egg son when he is attacked by the Fiend Spirit. The story continues as the other sector members can only watch from outside as the Fallen Sword Abyss begins to collapse. Debris begins to damage the fleet of ships, so Lee uses his immense powers to protect them all. However, just then, Lee is pushed back by a residual aura and can tell that it is of a Heavenly Vein key. The Fiend Spirit reveals that a disciple was the one that had taken the Heavenly Vein key and proclaims that the place will now be called the Perilous Domain of 9 Hells. No sector member is allowed to enter ever again, or the sector they belong to will be destroyed. All the disciples then emerge from the area, and everyone wonders who could have absorbed the Heavenly Vein key. Every sector hopes that the one who did belongs to their sector, but Song arrives heavily wounded to reveal that it was Bai. Nearby, Huyan explains that Wan could not be found, so Bai stayed behind to find her. Lee grows concerned for his young disciple just as Bai's storage pouch falls in front of them. Sometime later, back at the Spirit Sector, several disciples are told that Bai had sacrificed himself to save his comrades inside the Foundation Establishment's sacred lands. He is now missing, so everyone is ordered to use every effort to search for him and bring him back safely. Elsewhere, a man named Hong speaks with the talking monkey, who explains that Bai has reached Heavenly Vein Foundation Establishment and is undeniably the future hope of the Spirit Stream Sector. The problem is that the other 3 sectors will not be happy about it, since it will mean the Spirit Stream Sector will become the leader of the sectors. The monkey reminds Hong about the reason he made Hong live forever. Hong recalls that he was given the responsibility of leading the Spirit Stream Sector up the eastern side of the Heaven-reaching river to become a midstream or even upstream sector. That way, he could revive the glory of the Frigid Sector's spiritual path. They are one step closer now, and the monkey instructs Hong to give Bai the Frigid Sector medicinal scroll if he returns. Back in the Fallen Sword Abyss, we once again see how Bai's adopted egg son saved him from the Fiend Spirit. Bai is then shocked to see that he is back at the Lucian clan manor and can't understand how or why. He remembers that it was his egg and is startled to see Tidon in bad shape. Bai realizes that it will require a huge boost of spiritual energy to help it recover from its weakened state, and prepares to help it. Elsewhere, the Grand Elder of the Bloodstream Sector is told that no signs of Bai have been found. He demands that the search continue since Bai must be executed at all costs. Just then, the Elder thinks they are blessed as he can sense Bai nearby. We then see that Bai is confused since all he did was try to transfer some spiritual power, but sees that he has hurt his own son. Bai manages to dislodge the egg and compliments it on its durability, but is shocked to find that he can't store Tidon in his pouch since it's missing. Bai is worried since all his equipment was in there, but calms down when he reminds himself that he now has the heavenly path of Foundation Establishment. Sometime later, Lee is informed that the search for Bai has gone on for 5 days, and there have been no signs of him in any of the areas around the Fallen Sword Abyss. Lee knows that Bai doesn't have his sword, which means he can't fly, and must be on foot, so he instructs everyone to head to Donglin City. At Donglin City, we see that Lee is correct as Bai has arrived there. No one knows who he is though, and he overhears gossip about how Bloodstream Sector disciples are fighting Spirit Stream disciples outside the city. Just then, Bai thinks he sees Faye but is wrong, and is confronted by a group that explains that the other 3 sectors want him dead. Bai prepares to use the Heavenly Veins for his form, but it's actually just a smokescreen. Bai runs away as fast as he can, and thinks about how fighting there will cause innocent people to get hurt, so he has to lure the group away. We see that the group are determined to catch up to him, but find that their mission will be cut short. Afterwards, the Grand Elder of the Bloodstream Sector is told that all the assassins sent by all 3 sectors have been eliminated. The Elder assumes it was Bai and reiterates that he must not be allowed to live. The Elder states that it doesn't matter how resilient he is, Bai won't be able to defeat the one who achieved Foundation Establishment with 9 tides in the first Hell Secret Realm. The person that strikes fear in everyone, the Bloodstream Sector's chosen Sumei. Just then, we see that Bai has already met her and explains that just because he doesn't attack girls doesn't mean he won't defeat her. He would much rather talk things through, but Sumei explains that he is now the most hated person of the 3 sectors, and if she doesn't kill him, someone else will. Bai flees as she attempts to go after him, but before Sumei even realizes what happened, Bai is already claiming victory. He mockingly asks if she needs help getting her sword, and explains that he only pretended to run. Bai saw a familiar plant nearby, and made her use her spiritual energy so that it would trap her. He warns her not to move as it will only grab her tighter, and takes his leave. Afterwards, he is amazed at the masked girl's strength and thinks about how she revealed he was being hunted by other sectors. This is strange though, since throughout his journey, he has only seen the aftermath of battles, with not many people coming for him. Bai begins to wonder if someone is secretly protecting him, but realizes it can't be true since no one knows where he is. He begins to have memories of how he stayed in this cave with his friends during the Lucian incident, and wonders where Fei has gone. Just then, he reaches out as he senses someone, and finds that it is his long-lost friend Fei. Bai wonders if he is dreaming as he goes in for a hug, but Fei knocks him out cold. She apologizes to the unconscious Bai and explains that she left because of an unavoidable difficulty. All she has been able to do was protect him for a short while, but now he must walk the path ahead on his own. Fei thanks Bai for curing her loneliness and explains that he can stop worrying about her now and must forget her. She disappears just as Bai wakes up and sees that Li is in her place. Bai wants to go search for her, but Li reveals that Fei's situation isn't so simple. Li prepares to explain why there have been no signs of her, but Bai insists that he just go in search of her. Li begins to explain anyway, and reveals that Fei is a traitor of the Spirit Stream sector. Sometime later, Bai has locked himself inside Li's home, and his friends grow increasingly worried about him. They state that they will have to knock the door down, but Bai explains that he is fine, and just wants to be alone. His friends remind him that he doesn't have to endure everything on his own, but realize that he must be emotionally hurt. Bai remembers how Li explained that Fei tampered with the sector's mountain guarding runes. Luckily, it was discovered in time to stop her, but if it wasn't, it would have brought endless trouble. Bai stated that he would get to the bottom of it, but Li reminded him that he is the most hated person of every sector, and if he goes out in public, then all that awaits him is endless pursuit. Just then, Hong appears before him and explains that he has frozen Bai's friends as he doesn't want anyone to hear what he is about to tell him. Hong is disappointed to see that Bai has locked himself in the room and refused to go to the Elders Promotion Assembly. Bai explains that it's because he doesn't believe Fei is a traitor. Hong hopes to enlighten Bai about the truth of the world and begins by stating that it actually doesn't produce a single trace of spiritual energy. The heaven-reaching sea is the center of the world and the only place that contains spiritual energy. There are 4 upstream ancient sectors that control all the sectors downstream of them. The ancient sector that sees over their spirit stream sector and the 3 other sectors nearby is called the Starry Sky Pinnacle Sector. A few years ago, a midstream sector called the Sky River Court provoked the Starry Sky Pinnacle Sector and was almost completely wiped out. This means there is a vacant midstream spot and the 4 downstream sectors are competing for it. This is why the Lucian clan betrayed the spirit sector, and Hong assumes it's also why Fei did as well. Bai refuses to believe that, and Hong explains the reason why all the sectors are desperately climbing up the heaven-reaching river. Besides seeking denser spiritual energy, there is a heavenly reaching island at the end of the river. Legend has it that it is the entrance to the heavens, and if one breaks through, they can obtain eternity. Bai wonders why he is being told all this, and Hong explains that it's because he has a heavenly path of foundation establishment, which makes him the Spirit Stream sector's last hope. Hong acknowledges that Bai has issues in his life, but explains that he has an immense responsibility now. He brings forth the Frigid Sector medicinal scroll, and asks if Bai is prepared to walk the path of eternity. Bai accepts the responsibility, but states he will also get to the bottom of the mystery surrounding Fei. Bai is then surprised to hear that Hong knows about his egg. Hong states that he needs to absorb the spiritual energy of spiritual beasts every day. After a full 49 days, Bai must spirit refine it and it will hatch into a Beast King. Once it hatches, it will become Bai's strongest support, as well as the strongest support for the Spirit Stream sector. Absorbing spiritual energy causes great harm to the beasts, so Bai must be certain that the Beast Masters are okay with it. Afterwards, Bai's friends are amazed to see that his adopted egg son will eventually become a Beast King, and Zheng explains that he has been practicing spirit refining. Zhang has spirit refined some swords for Bai as a congratulatory gift for all he has accomplished, and asks that he only look at them when he leaves. Bao is certain that the swords won't be anything special, but Zhang defends all his hard work. The two settle down and Bai tells them all the stories of his journey to achieving the heavenly path to Foundation establishment. The day comes to an end as everyone heads home, and Bai checks the box to see that Zhang couldn't successfully spirit refine a single sword. Sometime later, in the northern bank, disciples discuss a strange occurrence where spirit beasts have been disappearing only to return on their own in a debilitated state. The sector leader and every chief are keeping closed mouths on the matter, so they all assume it must be someone with a high status. They all then agree that it must be the newly promoted elder, Bai, since he has been known to do mischievous things. They are all certain and decide to join forces in a revolt against Bai. Bai shocks everyone with his presence and has the place shut down for casting aspersions on an elder. Bai realizes that everyone is beginning to suspect him and decides that it's time to seek an accomplice. We then see that he wants his accomplice to be the Black Dragon, and Bai explains that he wants the Beast King not for himself, but for the sake of the spirit sector. The dragon has had enough of Bai's rhetoric, but explains that out of consideration for the Beast King, he will comply with Bai's request one more time. Just then, we see that the spirit beasts of the northern bank have gone missing just like before, and Beihan Li's Night Stalker has stopped listening to him. Thanks to the dragon, several animals have made their way to Bai's home, where they make spiritual energy offerings to the future Beast King. They are actually all eager to do so, and we see that the Night Stalker has already been there 3 times. Beihan Li arrives, furious to see what is going on, but Bai explains that all the animals came willing to make an offering, and he can't even stop them. Beihan Li regrets coming back to help Bai in the Fallen Sword Abyss, as his Night Stalker has completely drained himself. But Bai offers to refine some immortal pills so that it can recuperate and raise its power levels. Beihan Li knows those pills are poisonous though, and seeks out the help of the elders. The elders couldn't do anything sooner because they were all in deep training, and wonder where the others have gone. Back at the Spirit Stream sector, Yuan states that what Bai is doing is for the greater good of the Spirit Stream sector, and everyone will have to suffer some grievances for the time being. Zhou points out that while hatching the Beast King will strengthen the Spirit Stream sector, it will also intimidate the Bloodstream sector. Back at Bai's house, Zhang arrives to hear that Bai liked his swords, just as the Northern Bank elders arrive, demanding Bai come outside. He leaves Zhang in charge of protecting the egg, and Bai goes to kindly greet the elders. Beihan Li is then shocked when Bai openly admits to harming the Northern Bank's spiritual beasts. Inside, Zhang is determined not to let Bai down and does something to the egg. Outside, Bai explains that it doesn't matter how misunderstood or how infamous he becomes for harming the spiritual beast, he is determined to do what is best for the Spirit Stream sector. Bai doesn't even need to be thanked, but does say you're welcome to them. The elder doesn't believe Bai's story about the egg of the Beast King, so Bai offers to show him. However, just then, we see that Treason has blasted through the roof of Bai's house glowing, and comes down to rest on Bai's hands. The elders are amazed by what they are seeing, and determine that the egg is hatching via spirit refinement. It has incredibly dense spiritual energy, and they can tell that its life energy is getting stronger. Treason is beginning to hatch just as Zhang emerges from the house, but he doesn't allow himself to look at it. Treason finally hatches, and the elders point out its remarkable resemblance to the Black Dragon. Treason opens his eyes for the very first time, and Zhang can't help but look. The little dragon begins to die though, and Zhang blames himself since he knows his spirit refining skills are lacking. Bai rushes inside as fast as he can, explaining that it's not set whether this has succeeded or failed yet. Bai frantically summons his walk and demands that Treason stay alive for him, his adopted father. He uses his walk to begin spirit refining Treason himself, and the elders watch as they realize that a true Beast King has been born, but its life is at risk. From a distance, Yuan explains that heaven and earth are shaking, while all the beasts are crying out. The elders wonder if the failure is due to the insufficient absorption of spiritual power, and order all Northern Bank beasts come to make an offering. Li arrives to explain that the failure was actually due to the fact that the vicious evil energy from the Fallen Sword Abyss was not completely refined. Spiritual energy and evil energy are colliding with each other, and Zhang takes full responsibility. He wants to make up for his mistake, but Li points out how his ki is unstable. Li temporarily eliminates Zhang's impure energy and tells him to go home, but Zhang refuses. Li explains that this event is far too dangerous for someone of his level, and there is only a slim chance of survival. Whether or not the Beast King will live depends on its fate. We then watch as Bai works hard at spirit refining the Beast King, but Zheng expresses concern as it has been 3 days already. Bai begs Tidan to open his eyes and explains how he did not fear death all that much before his parents died. What he fears most is losing those close to him. Bai states that he can't stand to lose his little egg, just as he finishes the spirit refinement. Elsewhere, the talking monkey points out how Bai already had the Heavenly Path to Foundation establishment, and now has the Beast King, so the sector's revival is imminent. Tidan's birth is complete as everyone celebrates, but Zheng can only think about how he almost ruined everything. Bai explains though that he actually helped a lot, and all Bai really did was refine the last evil parts. Later, the sector's annual cleansing festival is set to be held over the next 3 days, and everyone becomes more relaxed. Li talks to Zhou and explains how annoyed he is with Bai's overly relaxed attitude. Zhou, however, points out how incredible Bai is, as it took immense talent to hatch the King of Beasts. Li can't deny Bai's immense potential while already achieving such a high status, despite his young age. Bai has become the most famous person in the spirit sector, along with having the strongest powers. Tidan is also very popular for being adorable, much to the disappointment of Beihan Li. Bai insults Beihan Li for being hideous, and Beihan Li reminds him that he still wants revenge for what Bai did to all the spirit beasts. Mei points out that what Bai did was for the good of the entire sector, but Beihan Li doesn't care. He prepares to get revenge, but Tidan stops him with one exhale. Just then, everyone is shocked to see 20 inheritances, and realize that it's because of Guya. Disciples who reach Foundation establishment will all go to the Forbidden Ancestral Land to receive a unique inheritance. It's Guya's turn right now, and this is the first time in 100 years that someone has received 20 inheritances. Bai explains that he is disappointed that Guya only received 20, and loudly proclaims that if it was him, then he would have gotten 200. Afterwards, Bai is scolded for being so arrogant. Bai explains that his talent and dazzling temperament are to blame for causing problems, and promises to be more humble. Li is furious though and states that if Bai wants to enter the Forbidden Ancestral Grounds, he will first have to practice abstinence for 1 month while not leaving his room. Bai then reads scripture stating that he must abstain from killing, abstain from desire, abstain from alcohol, abstain from stealing, and abstain from lying. While he does this, women would begin to notice that their undergarments are being stolen by someone. News would begin to spread, and the culprit would be given the name Undergarment Psycho. The law enforcement hall will be capturing this person soon, and he will be severely punished with no leniency. We then see that Bai is doing very well as he meditates on abstinence, refining pills day and night as an apology to the sector's spiritual beasts. Bai wonders where Tidan has been going all the time, and Tidan surprises him with a gift. Bai can't wait to see what Tidan got him, but is shocked to find that his young child has stolen undergarments. Just then, Tianyu arrives outside to explain that the sector is conducting a search, and Bai instantly knows that he is in trouble. Bai desperately tries to hide all the undergarments, but Tianyu grows impatient and opens the door. To his surprise, Bai is simply meditating, but Tianyu is skeptical since Bai didn't open the door. Tianyu states that nothing can be hidden from him, but ends up not finding anything. Bai states how innocent he is again, but Tianyu vows to keep an eye on him. As Tianyu leaves, the cauldron Bai hid all the undergarments in explodes, and he pleads to the elders that he was wrongly accused. He was seemingly caught red-handed, but Li points out how although Bai is mischievous, he knows the difference between right and wrong. An explanation is needed, so Bai tells him that it was Tidan. No one believes him, and Li states that if Bai continues speaking nonsense, then not even he can protect him. He continues pleading and lucks out when Tidan appears with more undergarments. Tidan gives it to Bai though, so Bai attempts to tell everyone that Tidan meant it as a gift to Li. Thanks for watching part 12, 7,000 likes and I'll know you want a part 13. All other parts are in a pinned comment below.